education is a very fundamental need in Kenya that no individual, no entity, no policymaker should joke with it. Because education is very, very fundamental as a need.
Hey guys, welcome to The Pulse, where we keep our finger on the conversations that matter, those that shape how we think, how we live, and how we go through our day-to-day lives. First of all, thank you. Thank you so much for showing love to our previous episodes, for liking, for sharing, for watching, for commenting, for also following us on our social media platforms at The Pulse Pod. Thank you so much. As usual, we are recording this podcast at IR Studio. If you want to record anything content-wise, this is the best place to be. One, the staff here, amazing. They make everything feel and sound so easy to do. Number two, there are so many sets that you can choose from. And from those sets that you can choose from, you can also customize them to make sense to what you want your content to bring out. So this is a place to be. Follow them and ask whether you can record. Not even ask, could you record? Anyway, so today we are having a topic about education. But before we get into it, I would like our guest to introduce himself. Thank you so much for making the time. Kindly introduce yourself.
Thank you. I am Dr. Thuku Kimani. I am many things. I primarily I would consider myself an educationist. My background, however, is in the area of the creative economy. I am trained up to PhD level on issues of arts and social sciences. I am also an artist. I've done film, I've done theater, music. Yes. But I'm also a curious person who loves this continent of ours. And I hope one day I'll be able to contribute to make this continent make sense.
Lovely. I like that. So today we are talking about education. And I like that you're an educationist. I think you're the best person to have this conversation with. So in January, when students were moving to grade 10, I don't know why that story really catch my mind so much, because I was just like, okay, this is a new curriculum. People have complained about it, but I think it may change you from CBC to CBE. Within all of that, I was first of all confused about the curriculum, and then also I was wondering why the change from 844 to CBC to CBE. And then you explained to me like a few minutes ago about the difference between a system and a curriculum. So first it was CBC, right?
Yeah. Well, they named it CBC. That's competency-based curriculum.
Yeah.
Then there was that, what people consider a change. I don't see it as a change really, to competency-based education, CBE. It wasn't really a change.
Why do you say that?
Just the same way, just as, like your Priscilla Wahio.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe you might be calling yourself PW and then you come and tell people, oh, I'm WP.
Okay.
Okay. But CBE was still there. It's only that people had privileged the curriculum as opposed to the system. Competency-based education, and even what we have at TVET level, that's competency-based education and training, CBET. They are systems of education. Now, systems of education are the larger roof where you'll find other things domiciled, like the curriculum. You will find the training infrastructure. You will find the training human resource and all those things. So this whole system is the education system. Okay, just the same way we had 844. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the curriculum, on the other hand, is the document or the blueprint that actually now says that this is how the education system will be implemented in terms of how it will be delivered to the learner.
Okay.
So it will provide for the specific learning outcomes, learning experiences, the specific content and all that. So the curriculum, in essence, includes a variety of designs which are the subjects. But the system includes everything, including the policy system, the policy ecosystem. It includes everyone who is involved. So CBE now involves everyone. But the CBC is that training document that people are following.
I like that you mentioned 844. Was there a need from moving to 844 to CBE, in your opinion?
In truth, that is where the world is going. Back in the day, there was something called the Agrarian Revolution in Europe, which inspired the Industrial Revolution. And it's from the Industrial Revolution that they became hungry for raw materials. And that brought the unfortunate period that we had of colonialism, because they needed to get raw materials from but that was a setup. So they literally set us up for colonialism.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, the change from 844, and initially there was another system.
Yeah. 263.
I think it was where they had CAPE, they had CPE and all.
Yeah.
Now, every change is inspired by a particular movement. I wouldn't competently speak about what inspired 844.
Yeah.
But now the change from 844 is because 844 was emphasizing more on rote learning, where you have to cram certain things. Then the assessment is norm referenced, where now it's Wahyu is number 1, I am number 2, like that.
Yeah.
That wasn't helping, because what it was doing was it was creating hierarchies. That is why we had, we had certain schools that were considered very good, and others that were considered when your child gets admission to a certain school, nasema hataenda hiyo because you shule si mzuri. Now, what was making you feel that was not a good school was because of maybe the performance and the norm referencing, where a certain school is privileged against another. The other thing is, because the goal of Kenya at some point when you look at that document called the Vision 2030 and its implementation phases, which are called the medium term plans. Okay, so we are now in MTP4, which they are calling the better bottom up economic transformation agenda, and previously we had the big 4 and all that. Now, all of them, and when you go back to the spirit of the Vision 2030, was that Kenya becomes an industrialized nation. Now, the goal towards industrialization, that means that we should be able to produce people who can competently serve as a labor force in that period of industrialization, up to the point where we are fully industrialized. You need labor. Labor is a very important thing in industrialization. And that is why, again, the other unfortunate thing that happened to Africans, the slave trade, the transatlantic slave trade, because those people are industrializing, so they needed labor, so they had to get it by force. We do not, in this century, have those wherewithals of those days, that now we can just go harass some nation to give us people for free to come and sell. Okay? So we have to build our capacity. And to build our capacity, it means we must be able to give an education that foments individuals that are able to competently serve in specific areas of that industrial economy. So it was important now to come up again with a system that responds to that need. Now that response means that you have to put people in, a system and a curriculum that allows that they are trained towards, appreciating those skills even when they are very young.
Yeah.
At a very early stage, they are able to appreciate, working with their hands, apart from just contributing to ideas.
Yeah.
They can be able to think with their minds,
And
competently and creatively, and they can be able to, again, work with their hands to be able to produce. So that is why it came to now we've been producing people who, this is something we call the KSA. Okay, the knowledge, skills, and attitudes. Those are the important pillars of learning. The important pillars of learning. Okay, so in our domains. Now, those domains, whether knowledge, sometimes we call it the cognitive domain.
Yeah.
Okay, with skills, we call it psychomotor. And then we have the affective domain, which is attitude. So you have to respond to all of them. Now, 844 was accused of just concentrating on one domain and not giving any signal of concentration on the others.
Yeah.
Mostly knowledge, but when you get out of there, you are functionally illiterate.
Okay. Yeah.
So now they have, that was what inspired that now we need to go to a system where you are both knowledgeable and also functionally literate. You can be able to perform a task.
Okay. I like that breakdown. And also now, and because I have really, really, really tried to understand what CBE and CBC, okay, now CBC, is about. And the way you've spoken about the different levels that education should do, I feel like for 844, because I'm a product of 844.
Myself too.
Yeah, we had that banding. Even in the school, there's kuna class ya machupi, class ya wenye wanaweza jaribu, class ya the guys
wale wanavuta shule chini.
Bas, na ukiwa kwa hiyo class bedhe unapigwa sana. And we were having a discussion with my friends the other day. I met a guy that we were in primary school together with. And we were talking about the way we were beaten. We used to be beaten so bad because of failing.
Yeah, it seemed to be part of the curriculum.
Yeah, like mnapigwa, and I'm just like, now as a grown up, I'm thinking we were children. I don't think we should have been treating children like that. Like as children, I feel like the education system at the time, I don't know about now, kind of forgot that these are children. We need to be taking care of them like children. They're developing as children. So if I forget to pull up my socks, I'm a child. So I like that you've spoken about CBE and CBC. But then now, circling back, were we ready for that transition? Yes, it makes sense. The knowledge, just having students and people coming out to the world with just one thing, just knowing and not doing, that's a problem. But then now, yes, we have accepted that that's a problem. Were we really ready for that? And was the preparation to move on to that done well?
Thank you. I think the question that is important to think about is if what we needed was reform or review. You see, with review, you can review a curriculum, and even this one, the CBC, has gone through a number of reviews.
Yeah.
Okay, mostly to tighten certain things. At some point, they had to put together, because they had music, that's at junior level. They had music, they had art, fine art, they had, I think, they had sports. They put them together and called them creative arts and sports. Okay. There have been many movements that have happened. And as parents, we've had to buy books, new books, now and then, because curriculum has changed. So a new edition of a book has come along. So we have to deal with that. On if the change was necessary and it was done properly, the honest answer is no. Of course, reforms are not easy to do.
Yeah.
Even when we changed our constitution, until today, we're still debating things like 2/3 gender role.
Yeah.
Until today, it has not been achieved. We're still having that conversation. So there is no reform that does not come with pain and difficulty. So was the change necessary? I think it was. Was it done properly? That is a question of debate, of which I would say it was not. Because we had a period of time within which we should have been able to create a smooth transition by properly resourcing our institutions of learning. Because right now, what this has presented is the challenge of the capacity of our schools to be able to deliver this curriculum. We are dealing with a situation where you've introduced media technology, like the stuff we have here, cameras, mics and stuff. And now you're expecting a kid should be able to script and even develop a concept and put together, set up a podcast and shoot it. But have we allowed schools to get to that level by equipping them, by resourcing them, making sure that they have the necessary resources? Have we dealt with the question of the digital divide? For example, there are places in Kenya where network is still a problem.
Yeah.
But you will find that you'll go and find that in the learning materials, that in certain activities they are expected to search for certain material online. So if there's no network, which online are you talking about?
Yeah.
Then it also assumes certain things. For example, accessibility to digital devices, accessibility to smartphones and all those things, whose penetration is still not yet 100%.
And then also I feel like infrastructure. We still have schools that students are still learning under trees.
Yes, you've introduced film and theatre, where they are supposed to have certain resources. But now, have you made the consideration that some of them are under trees? Okay. So my feeling is that we should have been able, first of all, as a matter of priority, to address the infrastructure problem, so that we do not have one child in Nairobi who is totally enjoying and appreciating the goodies of CBC, and another one in another far-flung county who is wondering, what is this? Even the teacher himself or herself is confused.
Yeah.
Like, how am I supposed to deliver this? And we expect them to be able to do it competently. In the first place, even before we got to those subjects that I've referred to, we had sciences as a basic thing.
Yeah.
Okay, we had sciences. We had, for example, chemistry, biology and physics. Had we properly resourced the schools to deliver just those three sciences?
Not quite.
Okay, if it's a simple subject like computer, which has been examined since I was in high school, had we resourced the schools to be able to deliver this? Okay, but even before we get to that level of saying labs, even classrooms.
Yeah.
Even classrooms, because at a basic level, someone should at least have some shelter. Okay?
Yeah.
So the question of resources, and we are dealing with this burst of expectation that we must be able to give these resources at a period when even our parents are going through problems economically. So it's like a perfect storm. It's a combination of all those things, and you are in the middle of a typhoon that has dust, and it's also raining.
Yeah.
So I see that as a challenge. Maybe there should have been a period of time of gradual and staggered implementation as opposed to just a complete overhaul. I wouldn't see it as the way it was easy to transition TVs to digital.
Yeah.
You see that one, they just switched off TVs for 1 week and then now you had to take away where itakabidi uweke TV yako ya mgongo kando and buy a flat screen.
Yeah.
Then for those who could not buy those flat screens, there was
TV
like a thing, TV box.
Yeah.
Then you transit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was painful, but you see that affected certain people. But this one you have no option. So long as you have a child in school, they have to go through it.
Yeah.
So I think they should have, first of all, started the implementation pole pole. Not just at once. Give time for resourcing the schools. And I think, of course, there was a short period of time when it was possible, for example, to make sure that grade 10 was properly resourced before the transition. And, there was this whole story about, now we have our children to go to grade 10 and we have prepared. But, in Kenya, we vote after every 5 years. So there was a transition of governments in 2022, August. So after that transition, then the new regime came in and the first question that they were asking is, should we implement this? And they had a task force. And this task force came back and said, now grade 10s are not going to high school. They are remaining in primary schools. So you have this child who was supposed to go to Form 1. Now they're still in primary school. They're still in the same school that they were before. Okay? And that's not an issue. But then now high schools don't have Form 1s. You realize there was a gap here.
Yeah.
There was a gap here where there were no Form 1s. You had Form 2s, Form 3s, and Form 4s. But the rest are in
so the Form 1s into grade 10?
Yes.
Okay.
No, now Form 2s.
Okay.
Grade 10 is like Form 2.
Okay.
Sasa ni kama hakukuwa na, so there is no Form 1 anywhere. Hakuna Form 1. So wameingia, yes, they are freshmen in high school, but they are not Form 1s. They are in what we would call an equivalent of Form 2s.
That's a lot
because the only other people in that school are Form 3s and Form 4s. Because wale Form 4s wenye walikuwa walishaenda. Walitoka. So currently we just have Form 3s and Form 4s. Okay, so sounds confusing.
Yes, it's very confusing.
So that transition is, and I can imagine there are many parents wenye mtoto wake ako grade 10 na pia yeye ajui like what is this,
like uko wapi,
that is going on here. So then apart from that, then kulikuwa na the issue of infrastructure. Of course, maybe there are certain efforts that the previous government had started making. When you change a government, wanakujaga with their own priorities.
Yeah.
They come with their own priorities. They come with their own way of doing things. And they come and because normally, I've told you like MTP4 is now better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Normally, those medium-term plans are produced by the planning state department in the treasury ministry. But now, unajua every regime ikikuja, you have to merge what was the thought of the medium-term plan with kitu yenye wamekuja as manifesto. So that means even budgetary allocations are prioritized based on now what this thing they have come with as manifesto has to go. So that now, kama sasa in the situation we are in, sasa kuna kama history ya housing, it has become an important thing for the government. Until now, if you earn a salary, your payslip must reflect a housing levy. Okay?
Yes.
So education, you can tell, is not really
a priority.
Yeah, you can tell that education is not really
top
something
priority.
It's not really top priority. And in that particular case, then that means that the whole value chain of the education system must suffer. Okay, because the budgetary allocations will be problematic. Hata wakisema wameongeza, it's not to a scale that is fully responsive to the change that was made.
Okay, because during this budget reading yesterday, education was among the winners of they would get more money, but then there's still a question mark though.
You see, with government budgets, the devil is in the details. Okay, the devil is in the details because utaona education imepata this number of billions, but what are the priority areas? Because you see, when it goes to education, it means that it's allocated to the Ministry of Education to implement, and also you know that early education is devolved to the counties. So that implementation then ina depend what priority areas wameweka. Okay, for example, has that been prioritized towards the development of infrastructure, or is it the hiring of new teachers? That's maybe expansion of the human capacity, or is it retraining of the teachers to be able to absorb these new things that have arrived on their table, or is it then resourcing those people who are in charge of the quality? Okay. Or is it responding to the learner in terms of that learner who is not able to fund, you know, that learner who is unable to go to school because they lack fees. So which is the priority area? That is the main important question. Ni wapi hiyo pesa inaenda? So you might expand the money, but it's going to things that are not relevant at that particular point. Because hapo kwa hiyo pesa ndio itatoka pesa yenye ina involve pia kwa activities za ministry. Hapo ndo bado pesa ingine inaenda kwa TSC. Okay. Hapo ndo bado hiyo pesa inaenda kwa, remember, kwa the Ministry of Education you have different levels. You have basic, okay, you have TVET, okay, which has polytechnics, national polytechnics, it has TVCs, it has VTCs, and it has TTIs. Okay, then kuna higher education. All those have different organs. For example, ukienda kwa TVET, the State Department of TVET, it has, apart from those ones that I've mentioned, kuna kitu kama TVETA, the TVET Authority. Okay, kuna TVET SIDAC, kuna KNQA. Basically, when you see a budget expanding, inaweza kuwa pia ni mshahara.
Inaenda to paying other people.
Inaweza kuwa ni mshahara, so probably it might not inject anything in the system. Of course, a win is a win, and we hope that the win is bao inaingia the correct goal. Isikuwe tu ni win, but the goal mouth iko imesongeshwa kidogo to another spot.
So earlier when you were talking, you talked about the transition, the challenges of the transition. And as I said earlier, there's so many students who didn't get to go to grade 10. And then as of last month, I saw somewhere that NEC had released that maybe 100,000, I'm not sure of the numbers, but I will put the numbers somewhere.
Okay.
But many students dropped out. And I'm thinking, what is the ripple effect of that? Because first of all, I think your age, your grade 10, your development mind is growing.
Yes.
And then now you're not in school. You're not in school maybe because you were placed wrongly. You can't afford it anymore because it's become very expensive. So now what does the ripple effect? Say maybe we would be like, oh, watoto wame drop out, and then we move on to the next, because in this country there's something happening every 5 seconds. So what is the ripple effect of all of those children not transitioning and those who have dropped out? What is the ripple effect of that?
Let me begin by establishing an important principle that we need to appreciate. One, in Kenya, we do not have like serious minerals that are of note as we are. We are not mining anything that changes our economy or affects our GDP seriously. Okay? We are not like Nigeria that we have limitless amounts of oil. Okay? We are not like South Africa that have diamonds and gold. It was said that we have the biggest aquifer ya maji in Turkana. Sijui kama kuna mtu alienda akaikunywa yote because I think after that announcement then we went through a serious bout of drought.
Yeah.
And animals and people died even in that side. So if you are to be asked, like, how does Kenya survive? Okay? How does Kenya survive? Where does Kenya even get money to survive? Like, we were reading a budget. Hiyo pesa inatoka wapi? Forget about borrowing first. Kuna hii pesa ingine, where does it come from?
The people.
Okay? You know, majani was a mainstay, but I think tumepitwa na other countries. We've been losing markets. Okay? At some point, tourism was a thing. I don't know. At some point, ni kama hata ilipitwa na what we call FDI. You know, and you know, pesa yenye inatoka from our brothers and sisters that are abroad. Now, when you think about that, then you ask yourself, Kenya inatoaga wapi pesa? And I think the simple answer is that Kenya inatoaga pesa kwa mifuko za watu. Yes. Like, for the survival of the nation state, Kenya has to be a serious pickpocket. Okay? What that tells you is, if people have money in the pocket that the government can get, then the biggest resource we have in the country is the people.
Yeah.
If the biggest resource you have in the country is the people, then that means that resource must be harnessed. You must take care of that resource so that it can convert into capital. Any resource you have, you must add value to it so that it becomes capital. So now, if the people are the resource that we are looking at, what that tells you is we need to build capacity among them. How do we achieve that? There are several things that you can be able to provide as public goods so that those people can thrive. One is healthcare. You must make sure that those people are taken care of. I will not talk about SHA. I will not talk about the state of our hospitals.
Yeah.
I will not talk about that our doctors, nurses and clinical officers wamekuwa kigoma. I think wale watu wagomagi ni mortuary attendants peke yake. They seem to be very comfortable and their clients don't give them problems. So in the health sector, wacha niseme, that's one place that we are not well taken care of. So let's try the other part where even if we are sick, at least we are empowered enough to be able to be a good resource capital. That's education. So education is what you'll be able to convert these Kenyans to be able to, so that you have more pockets to pick. So that you have more people that can be able to contribute to the economy. So education is a very fundamental need in Kenya that no individual, no entity, no policymaker should joke with it. Because education is very, very fundamental as a need.
Yeah.
Because I need you educated so that you can at least be able to put something together.
Yeah.
You can be able to solve problems. You can be able to engage in critical and creative thinking.
You can be able to ask questions.
You can ask questions.
Yeah.
You can innovate. Okay? So that we have other ideas. We keep talking about M-Pesa. You know, M-Pesa was an idea by a Kenyan. But after that, we need more innovators. The only way of breeding these innovators is education. So fundamentally, if you ask me, and going back to the question that you asked, the ripple effect of dropouts, that means we are losing capital. We are losing tomorrow's capital. 100,000 people out there that have not gone through education will be empty pockets that will not be available for you to pick next time.
That has made my
those
heart
are
drop.
those are resources dropped. So I'm telling you, we should not joke about education. I tend to agree with those people that say we should stop defunding education and pretending to fund it in other ways like bursaries. For example, if I know a certain school is a host to 1,000 students, but nimepatia MP wa huko money that is equivalent to the fees of those 1,000 students, why don't I resource that school so that it can be able to freely accommodate those students?
Yeah.
Nilisikia another debate imeanzishwa that so that there is no problem when students are transitioning because of uniform, because some students walikosa kuenda shule because walikosa uniform, so that we deal with that problem sasa shule zote zivange the same uniform. Why then is uniform necessary? Si mtu aende na zile nguo ako nazo nyumbani. So basically we are having the wrong conversations. That's what I'm talking about. Like, uniform is the bare basics, because if you've come to school to learn, the last thing I should ask you is uniform, so long as you are decently dressed. So for me, those people who are dropping out, those kids that have dropped out, they need to be gotten back to the system.
Yeah.
We should not joke with that at all, because these are the resources of not tomorrow, tonight.
And do you think it's a systemic failure?
It is, because I think it has been in the news that certain principals have been put to task for charging double the fees that were recommended by government.
Yes.
It has been in the news all over. It's not a secret. It is not a secret. Sidhani kuna shule yenye ilikuwa na admit wanafunzi directly that ilikosa kuitisha pesa extra. Even if it came as an innocuous walikuwa naita nini? I took my niece. Walikuwa naita remedial fees. Basically, after arriving in that school, we ended up spending around 15,000 more extra from what was indicated on. But haijawekwa kwa fees, so it's not tuition fees, so you cannot.
So it's a surprise, like
unafika hapo alafu sasa si unatembea na form. So imesainiwa hapa. Now you need to go to that guy akusainie. Okay. So ukifika hapo anakuambia unalipa aje vitabu? Uliza vitabu, I thought the school is providing books. Ati hapana, so hizo za ati serikali ijaleta pesa. So you have the option of paying us then to mpe vitabu, or kuna jamaa kwa hapo kwa gate, you can kwanza saa hiyo they pretend to be very nice to you by telling you, unajua hapa kwa shule ukinunua zitakucost 1,400, lakini huyo jamaa kwa hapo kwa gate nimesikia anapatia wazazi na 1,100.
Na ukisema sina nitakuwa nazo next week, mtoto anaweza ingia shule?
No, kama hana vitabu, si unajua hiyo form inaenda ikisainiwa in stages. That form is being signed in stages. So the first thing kabisa inaangaliwa ni, have you paid fees? Okay? Have you paid? Actually, the interesting thing is that huku mwisho kabisa ndo anakuja kuangalia unafaa kwenda class gani. Are you a STEM student? Are you an arts student? Are you a humanities student? Inakuja kuangaliwa mwisho. That is not the primary goal. Kitu ya kwanza ni confirm if you have money. Now, if you don't have the money, you get stuck at that point. You found people who are ahead of us kwa line. Akifika, anaambiwa ile pesa anafaa kulipa, anatoka kwa line, inabidi mpite. Na kama hauna hiyo pesa, you'll not get admission. They have the minimum yenye wanakuambia ulipe. Usipolipa hiyo siku, you're not getting admission. You'll go back with your kid back home. Na saa hiyo ujue, they didn't even bother kwa barua kukuambia hata uniform inafanana aje, so that if you are able to access what is that market,
Kenya
Uhuru
school
market
uniforms,
school uniform of course so that you get to the school and then unaambiwa unapewa namba, kuna shop iko hapo shopping center, go there. And then you arrive there and you find that jamaa ako na uniform za hiyo shule peke yake. What does that tell you? Is there any uniform distributor that would be stocking uniform from one school only?
No.
Realistically?
No.
Hiyo inakwambia nini? Ni shule inauza uniform through proxy. Okay.
My mind is blown.
So, already like when you arrive in school, roadblocks have been created because kuna mahali, but I'm telling you the last thing shule yenye unaacha is pocket money. And I'm telling you by the time you're getting to your part yenye unaacha pocket money, trust me, you've been fleeced. Now you have to look for money elsewhere because ile ulikuwa nayo yote it has been exhausted hapo kwa queue. Because unafika kwa hiyo unaambiwa sijui kuna kuaga na hii unalipa.
Na haziko kwa hiyo letter.
So me at some point no. Haziko kwa hiyo barua hizo unaambiwa kwa ground na mdomo. And you know the most interesting thing is like it is made to look because huyo jamaa there's some place anafaa kusign kwa form. Haijaandikwa hiyo kitu yeje unaitishwa, lakini kuna place anafaa kusign na stamp. But hawezi songa to the next person kama hujamalizana na yeye.
Back that. But still on the tangent of systemic failures. As we are recording this episode, today is the requiem mass of the children who died at the fire at Utumishi girls.
May the angels rest in peace. It's so unfortunate.
Very, 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 very unfortunate. May their souls rest in peace, first of all.
Yes,
and may God comfort their families and everyone who's been affected. This feels like a cycle. It feels like a cycle because it dates back to the one for Bombolulu. Was it Bombolulu?
Yeah, Bombolulu. Now Mazera's girls.
Yeah. And then we've been having so many. And then it usually happens, one school makes the headlines. Then weeks later after that, so many other schools are closed because the students are uneasy. First of all, who should be held accountable? Like in Ishdanan, is it the parents? Is it the students? Is it the government? Is it the whole curriculum? The term is too long. We want to go home.
The second term is long.
Yeah. So there's also that students would threaten to ban because the term is too long. And then I think it's that one, I don't know which one it is, that there was a problem with electrical something like stima ili blow ikachoma the domes. Yeah, so yes, there may be different reasons as to why the students banned the school, but it feels like shule inachomwa, kuna kwa na task force, we relax a bit. Shule inachomwa, like the previous one was Endarasha.
Yes. Silence
crickets. Like, no, we just move on to the next. So who do you think is to blame?
Beyond the blame game, I would want to see it this way. One, we have a problem of safety. We have a problem of safety because why should hata kama ni Ason, where you have a bunch of students like in Changuli back in 01, and we've had many cases, unfortunately, Bombolulu, Changuli, Pahil at some point.
Kizito.
St. Kizito actually was terrible. I watched a documentary about St. Kizito, which I think walibadilishanga jina, saizi jina itangwa something different. It's now actually I think a boys' school. There are no more girls there. And this person was having a conversation with the girls that were there at that time. Now, of course, they are they are mothers, they are mature women. And they were crying.
Yeah.
And we're talking about years ago. We're talking about, dog years ago. And if that trauma is still there, it tells you how unfortunate it was.
Yeah.
Where I see a problem is that we seem not to be learning from these things. We seem not to be taking any lessons from these things, regardless of how they started. Whether the perpetrators were the students or the problem was electricity, is that one, we have generally turned our schools into prisons. Because how are kids not able even to escape from those hostels?
Right.
How is it that we do not have rescue mechanisms in those schools? How is it that even the agencies that are charged with the responsibility of taking care of our security are not responsive enough in such situations? It tells you that I think we're at a tricky place. Now, of course, I've seen, I don't know for what reason, but I've seen that the principal secretary has been reshuffled, ampelekwa tourism.
And then tourism ameletwa education.
Ameletwa, and the one that ameletwa kwa education is an educationist. But does that cure the problems? I don't know why they did the reshuffle, because unajua government has its own issues, especially at the political level. Inaweza kuwa there were other maneuvers that were ongoing that have nothing to do with our kids that are, suffering in schools. The other thing that I have also encountered being discussed is that there's also the question of this transition. It has not been very smooth to grade 11, grade 10, sorry. It has not been very smooth, and there are some teachers who are disregarding a certain cohort, especially wale wameingia kwa arts. Okay. Some of them are not being treated well and such things. We cannot disregard such, because these are, I think, complaints that have come from certain quarters. Of course, I don't think this is a general, it can be generalized as a reason, but it could also be an issue in certain situations. This unrest, before I cast blame on anyone, I think one of the things we need to do is get to the bottom of it, understand what is the root cause. Go to those schools, do a proper survey, not only among the students, but also among the teachers and even the school administrators. What is going on in your schools? How come shule yako iligoma and your neighbor wako tu shule? What is special about your school? Okay? Because you remember the case of Changuli, unfortunately, ilikuwa ati hawa jamaa walikuwa na beef na principal. Okay? Because that case was prosecuted in court and some people were jailed. Okay? Ilikuwa ati kulikuwa na issue na principal, so these guys had a problem with the principal. I don't know why they decided to ban the students. Shida ilikuwa na principal. So then mwanafunzi anapataje chance ya kununua petroli? Achome wengine. Alitoka aje shule akaenda kununua petroli. That goes back to the issue I was talking about, the issue of safety in our schools. Our schools safe? Those dorms, wewe sijui ulienda shule gani, but the school I went to, it had some dorms that were good, but others, unapata kama sasa ni kwa, hakuna switches, ni tuwaya tumehang, so ukitaka bulbi wake unakuja unashikanisha tuwaya. Okay?
Yeah.
It had some dorms that were dark and dingy. Kuna zingine zilikuwa sijui za mabati, and it was a big school in Nairobi. So, one, that is not considered. You remember when Dr. Fred Batiangi was the CS of education alikuwa anaenda kwa mashule, anaenda anaingia mpaka kwa doma and you know most times apata people are living very deplorable lives. Mtoto ametoka kulala alikuwa na kitanda yake nyumbani. Then unaenda unamweka kwa triple decker.
Ni kwanza shule nilienda tulikuwa tunalalia triple decker. Mistake moja unashuka. Anyway.
Imagine uko kwa triple decker, wendo unalala chini and your two comrades up there, you know, maybe bado hawajaacha kususu.
This is a very touchy topic for me because
when you think about it, if the resources of the school are not in congruence with the students that you have, you'll always have a problem. You'll always have a problem because again we are dealing with a different generation. We might have been na the generation before us, we might have been very docile people. Okay, once in a while tarusha mdomo hapa na pale, but we still remain very docile people. It took the generation behind us, Gen Zs. Okay, it took that generation to even remind government that it's no longer a joke. Okay. Sisi bana, will we even have dreamed of storming the principal's office, leave alone parliament? These kids, there are different generation. We deal with them in college. There are different generation you have to negotiate with them. Then now the people you have in high school now, they are those Gen Zs.
So is it like maybe the education system or the teachers and the stakeholders are not evolving with the generations that are coming? So you see, the way you're saying the Gen Zs are they'll ask questions, they will challenge things.
And they are a product of the information age.
Yeah. So now you have someone who's been in that school for a really long time, as let's say the matron.
Yes.
They're used to, nimesema mlale, lights off, 10 p.m., lights off, mlale. The generations before that walikuanga wanaitikia wanalala. Then this generation inasema why? So maybe do you think that could also be the reason?
We need to be a more tolerant society because we're in the information age. These are not the days when you know, you would be clobbered to sleep. No, we are raising a generation that understands their rights. Again, we are in the dispensation of our new constitution, which expects all of us to be responsible when we're dealing with other people. So, of course, kumekuwa na debate that we just close down boarding schools, wacha kila mtu akue kwa day school, but is that productive? Mtu kama anataka kwenda boarding, it's okay. But when you think about it, we should not, if a school doesn't have a capacity to be a boarding school, wachana. And a boarding school should have certain standards, whether it's living standards, and then you must think about safety standards. The school must be safe to start with. Okay, it's not just any structure that you have, you turn it into
a school.
Yeah, you turn it into a school, a hostel, na vitu kama hizo. It's unfortunate. Hizi mambo za, of course, school unrest ni normal. Hata sisi wakati tulikuwa shule, once in a while you disagree with this or that, chakula ni mbaya. But sometimes when I look back, by the way, I see that leadership is very important. We had a principal, I don't know where he went. Wherever he is, I wish him well. His name was Mr. Murengi. I'm not afraid to mention him. Mr. Murengi, sometimes now that I'm an adult, I think about certain things that he was doing that we didn't understand that time. I realize this man was way ahead of his time. Mr. Murengi would do something that many people would consider very uncharacteristic. Tulikuwa na parade Monday and Friday. And you know what this interesting gentleman would do? He would come and read us the bank statements of the school.
That's interesting.
Nasema as at maybe last evening, our bank accounts, anasoma the account number, anasema we received this amount of money. We spent this amount of money. The expenditure, we bought firewood, we bought meat, we bought this, we bought that. And he would do that religiously. There is no Monday or Friday yenye tulikosa kusomewa statements of account.
What was the goal for that?
I wish I would find him and have a conversation with him and niambie what was the goal. But the way I see it, having understood how governance is supposed to operate, I see that as accountability, because he was not just being accountable to us, but even the teachers wenye walikuwa hapo kwa parade, they would know that this is how much we've spent, that this is how much we have in the account, so that mkianza kupiga kelele that we are missing this, we are missing that, then Mr. Murengi was a consultative man, even to a fault, to a point that sometimes sisi as boys we tulikuwa tunashindwa mzee.
Not sure.
In one example that we give you is that at some point there was a harambe which I'll invite alumni, our parents and many other people towards buying a bus, because tulikuwa na lori ingine ilikuwa inaitwa Jumbo, ilikuwa Face Me, so ni lori ya Bedford lakini nyuma ni basi ya shule. Because we were very good in drama, sports, basketball, art, science, so of course hiyo basi ilikuwa imeheshimiwa in Nairobi. Tukiingia na pahika, tukiingia drama, tukiingia rugby, tulikuwa tunaheshimiwa kiona Jumbo. So we used to pride ourselves that Jumbo was a unique bus ikiingia. But thinking about it, that ramshackle was a safety problem. It was a safety. But anyway, going back, there was a harambe to purchase now a good bus. Okay? And it was done and all. I think they were supposed to also source some. I see that the problem we have is a breakdown of leadership in the schools. We have become capitalist mandarins. So I don't nafikiri about how the school can make money. How do I make money myself? How do I enrich myself? How do I, instead of taking care of these young ones? Because something that we forget is the sacrosanct responsibility that has been placed upon us to take care of the next generation. If you look at certain schools, kuna shule, for example, shisikia shule kama Kakamega High School wameenda strike. Why? It's a big school. Every big school has big problems. But leadership. Okay?
Yeah.
Leadership. So, for me, if you tell me to blame, I'll just tell you that we have a problem with school leadership. Yes, and we probably have people there that do not have the big picture of education at heart. That is why we have such problems. That's why unasikia watoto wana drop out. How do you as a principal sit tight na kuna mtoto mwenye ameenda like hakuji shule?
Yeah.
Like ukiangalia, this is the nominal role that I have of people that we admitted. But huyu mtoto ameenda na hajarudi. And you're very okay with that. You're very okay with that.
And also I feel like even leadership, like government-wise, you see those numbers of children dropping out and then there's nothing to do about it. Like those are so many children dropping out.
This is, for me... there's something sometimes that I don't know if it's controversial or not, but I think it's at some point maybe this will come a reality in Kenya. I don't know if I will be alive or not by that time. But one thing that I hope and I talk about freely is that it is important that we divorce government from politicians. We should have government that is a very professional running unit with a leader, whether it will be a prime minister or whoever, but that should be a professional person. Let politicians do their politicking as statesmen. Because I can assure you that we have serious professionals in the Ministry of Education. In the whole education sector, we have serious professionals. But our decisions those are the people who are making decisions on behalf of all these millions of professionals that are very dedicated and really understand what is required to make sure that the system is working. When you talk about the problem of leadership, the truth is the technocratic leadership is up to task. Is up to task. There are people who love kids. There are people who wake up thinking about those kids and sleep thinking about them.
Yeah.
Okay? There are people who understand those policies and know exactly what to do to make sure that those policies come alive to the fairness of all. Because remember, education is not one of those things that we are providing as a privilege. No, government is tasked and is mandated by the Constitution to provide education. Basic education is supposed to be compulsory. Basic education is supposed to be accessible for all. Anyone who is within the borders, hata ukienda kwa refugee camps, they have primary schools. Basic education is supposed to be provided for all. But now, we think of ourselves as a capitalist state. So we want to say that when you start providing things for free, you're becoming socialist. Those are politicians that think that way. But if we are really passionate about making sure that our education system is working, that we are empowering this population. Remember, I told you that education, for me, I see it as a silver bullet of converting this nation from whatever it is to whatever we desire that it should be. Education. At whatever level, whether it's at the early level, the basic level, the TVET level, all the way up to the higher education. If we can make sure that all those are well streamlined, then Kenya would become a very prosperous state.
Because I can already feel you're going into that tangent. If you could redesign the education system tomorrow, what are the first things that you'd change?
As I mentioned, first of all, make sure there is no politician close. Secondly, make sure that you have fully empowered the professionals to make decisions. Because why is it that it is an MP who has to come and build a classroom in my school? I'm the principal. There's a director of education in that county, and even in that sub-county, you have a director of education. Why does it take an MP to do that? Why don't you provide that budget to the right people? It's the CDE, for example, who knows that in this county, I have this number of students, I have this number of schools first. In these schools, this school A has this number of learners. School B has this number of learners. Like that, okay? Among these schools, there's also data of there are this number of learners that have a problem, or this percentage of learners that have a problem coming to school because of ABCD. Maybe trouble with fees, trouble with this. That person has the data. Provide them with resources to make sure that they are taking care of those things that are portended by that data. But now you are dealing with someone who is looking for political capital. Okay? That nimejenga mashule huku. Nimefanya hii. Nimeweka kabro kwa shule.
Nimedonate tank.
Na imeandikwa jina yake. I've done this, I've done that. Nimejenga gate, a very nice gate. Nimeweka kwanza ya kabro ndo ulifanya nicheke, because like really does the learner feel more special like ikanyaga kabro? So you plant nice grass. Just make the school look like a good environment.
And also don't write your name on the gate.
Yeah, umeandika jina yako emblazoned with a large font there that it is you who built the school. My feeling is that if we empowered the right people with resources to implement those things, so long as we make sure that we build a proper value system, because the problem with Kenya is kila mtu anataka kukula. Okay? But you see, if you empowered a principal, unaambia hii pesa unafaa ku expand lab zako. Huyo principal hatacheza na hiyo pesa. Okay? But if you have that money on the hands of someone who has the option of building a bridge and building a school, okay? Yeah, pengine ataona acha nikajenge bridge. Okay? Ama akikuja hapo kwa shule, it doesn't matter what is inside that classroom. Atajenga tu classroom. Si classroom ataandika jina. Kwani akinunua microscope ataandika jina? No, yeye tu akishajenga hiyo classroom, that story is done. Okay? But probably what you need is not that classroom. Probably what you need ni equipment ya lab. You need beakers, you need test tubes, you need Bunsen burners, you need all those things. But hakuna. What I was talking about ni parents should be brought closer to the schools. Wanafaa kuwa more involved, whether it's a boarding school ama it's a day school. Okay? There are schools zenye the only time you are involved is when they're asking you for fees.
Or if your child has done something wrong.
Yes, kama sasa, ama imagine sasa ati the only involvement ati unapata ni ukiitwa shule imechomeka, mtoto wako amechomekea ndani. You know, I've told you the spirit of CBE is that the parent is an important pillar and stakeholder in the education of their child. So that is another thing that I would make sure that it is done, not for cosmetic reasons. Sio just kuambia mtoto ati enda mzazi akutengenezee kite. Ama enda mzazi akutengenezee beanbag. Not those cosmetic things.
Yeah.
But sometimes making sure that even parents come within the compound of the school to do certain tasks, not to just come and find ways of fleecing them. Ati mzazi unaenda unaambiwa mtoto wako hajakuwa kiperform vizuri, so kuna kitabu fulani ya science anahitaji, so utalipa kwa bazaar 3,000. Not that interaction. The interaction of schools with parents has always been toxic. Unless we take away that toxicity, by the way, itakuwa ngumu sana. So I think that is one of the pillars that I would really want to emphasize. Parent involvement. The other is technology. Why are we buying physical books while it's possible to work with ebooks? You remember when the Jubilee regime was being voted in the first time, kulikuwa na story watoto wanafaa kupewa laptops.
Yeah.
Sijui zilienda wapi by sijui story ilienda wapi. I don't know. It may have sounded as a ridiculous idea that time, but if you ask me, this curriculum would require something like that. If kids can get that, so that if I'm not able to go and buy that physical book, then mtoto wangu anaweza access ebook, and it will be okay. And it will be okay that that ebook can be procured na watoto wataweza kusoma, wafanye homework. Na wafanye whatever it is that they need to do in the process of learning. It should be possible, and there are institutions of government that are doing very well. For example, this KICD wanakuanga na something they call inaitango aje. They have a digital portal where you can be able to access learning materials. Okay? You can be able to access even quizzes. You can be able to access explanations about certain things, videos in video form. And they even have, I think, material that can be accessed by even people who are hearing impaired and even visually impaired. Why don't we expand that? Okay, make sure that technology is serving us, because I can tell you at the heart of Vision 2030 that I talked about tukianza is that technology will be an important driver. Actually, Vision 2030 emphasizes the centrality of education in the whole scheme of things, and emphasizes that one important driver to achieve all this is tech. Vision 2030 kwa new document ni ya kitambo.
Ni kitambo, yeah.
But they thought about it. So we have tech. We have a lot of tech and it's available. Apart from having fiber internet that has been brought in by both government and private players, we also have, now technology has made things cheaper. We have AI, okay?
Yeah.
And now even digital devices have become cheaper. Why don't we go that direction? Why don't we make education accessible then? Hata kama mtoto atakuwa homeschooled basi, but they have access to all this. They have access to the design, they have access to learning materials, they even have access to learning guides. Kama just the what KICD has in their portal, ukona even lessons, like you have digital lessons. Ukona mwalimu and I explain those concepts, okay, with a whiteboard. So whether you went to a physical class or you went to a virtual class, both of you have received the same information.
Yeah.
Finally, make sure that the whole system is resourced, fully resourced. Okay? Make sure that the ratio of teachers to learners is fair enough. Usikuwe na mwalimu wako na class kubwa mpaka they can't handle it.
Yeah.
Make sure that you have enough teachers and make sure that you have resourced them to be there.
Yeah.
Pay them well. There's a time I think teaching was considered a noble profession in Kenya. Ulikuwa ukienda mostly kwa village, ulikuwa unasikia huyo mwalimu, like mwalimu, the opinion of mwalimu would be sought even whenever there was any societal quagmire. But sahi, do we respect our teachers? Okay? Do we respect them? Ilifika mahali na kama mwalimu ndiye amerarukiwa, so that when mwalimu tells you that musome mkue kama mimi,
nasema zi
bana mwalimu bana, hapo pia unataka kunisukuma mbali sana, that now when we think about mwalimu wa maths, we want to ridicule mwalimu wa maths. Mwalimu wa maths hapa ni wapi? In context, content and concept, we need to think about how we can see the bigger picture of education in Kenya and make sure that every action that we take and every activity we engage in is to that bigger picture. Is towards that bigger picture. Otherwise, tutakaa hapa to complain about CBE, tufike hapo mbele tuseme CBE didn't work because of these and these other reasons. We come up with superficial reasons, then we transit to another. Itupatie shida for another period of time, then. So, going forward, make sure that because 2029 is when the first CBE candidate ndio anaingia tertiary. Are you ready for them? Wengine wanasemanga, hey, we are ready. What do you mean you are ready? Okay? You might be curriculum ready, but are you resource ready? Are you ready to deal with a generation of people that have been exposed, for example, to media technology?
Yeah.
Or to film and theater, or to computer science, or to technical drawing, or to all those interesting subjects that have come back. And nazilikuwa part of it. For me, kingi high school nilipata woodwork, metalwork, nilipata TD, art and design, nilipata commerce, economics, nilipata accounting, nilizipata hizo zote. So, size imerudi. So, mtu mwenye amesoma accounting, our accounting schools, our business schools in universities and colleges, are they ready for that person?
And also it's not at the way we used to finish school and then you go do packages. Like right now, Kusonga.
Sasa saa hii wanaanza computer at like my daughter mwenye ako grade 2 wanafanya computer already. Sasa huyo ndo, that is the same person unataka ati amalize shule akafanye packages.
And afanye there was another.
Na hata before aanze kufanya computer already anatumia computer kwangu kwa nyumba. Ono mtu naambia enda akafanye packages. By the generation imechange and the times have completely changed.
Yeah.
So if we want to still treat people of this generation and in these times, in this epoch, we want to treat them kama watu wa kitambo, we'll have a problem.
Yeah. And I think that's a very good place to end at. We need to evolve, number one. Number two, we need to treat the children like human beings, not just pumping information and then when they feel it's a problem, just treat them as human beings. Another thing I've picked from you is the system needs to change. It needs to change. We need to have more professionals on board, people who understand what the children need. And there's a quote by Nelson Mandela that goes, the true character of a society is revealed in how it treats its children. And I thought about that when you were talking about the whole gruesome process of grade 10 admission. And I'm like, if you're treating as a society, I feel like we should be kinder to children because they are our tomorrow. Thank you so much for honoring our invite and for having this conversation. Give us a parting shot.
Those are, of course, the difficult ones. But what I would say is that anyone who is in the system of education right now, doesn't matter who you are, where you are, and what circumstances you are going through, just know that you hold a very important responsibility of taking care of today, tonight, tomorrow, and the next day of not just Kenya, but Africa and the world. The people we are preparing, don't see them as kids. Stop seeing them as kids or learners. Let us start seeing them as you tomorrow. Because you are teaching today, but the person who will replace you is seated in that classroom looking at you. Is that person that is struggling to operate that Bunsen burner? Is that person that is struggling to understand those things you're talking about in literature? Is that person that is wondering what you're talking about when you're teaching them history in social studies? Is that person that's trying to figure out why they have to measure distance with a string in geography? That is a person that will not only replace you, but that is a person that will advance society tomorrow. Let us look at education as an opportunity to transform people, not to just workers, but to good citizens of this world. People who will be patriotic, people who will be able to advance our national values, people who will be able to radiate the ethos that are needed in this modern world, and people who will be able to solve problems for society, and people who will be able to be empathetic when they are dealing even with the next generation. That is the responsibility we have in education. So whatever you're doing, wherever you are, when you look at that child in front of you, when you look at that learner in front of you, at whatever level, you should know that that is the person that will replace you. And they're not replacing you job-wise. No, they will come and stand in the gap you're standing now to change the world. Take care of them. Be empathetic to them. Make sure that they see the future as clearly as their young, beautiful minds allow them to. Otherwise, that will be what I would share for today.
Nothing to add there. Absolutely nothing to add there.
Thank you for having me. I am not used to being in front of cameras. I think I told you.
Yeah.
I'm mostly used to be behind them. My most comfortable position or my most usual position will have been where, he's seated, making sure that the sound is right, the images are right. But I'm happy to have this conversation. Thank you for the incisive conversation, and I wish you well as you go on. I'm happy to have more.
Thank you. And nobody could tell that you're uncomfortable in front of the camera. And thank you to you for watching this episode until here. Please leave a comment, like, share, and subscribe. See you on the next one.